matches to 12:20. I just checked the timetable, and my class is like the class of Islamic insurance is scheduled at 12:05 if I'm not wrong. Is it? Yeah. I have with me the timetable in which my class is at 12 or 12:55. Okay. No problem. So I'm extremely sorry for making you to join the class before. So I hope that Wali Saab has completed his class. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I apologize for the inconvenience, and let me quickly revise what I have started. I've just started with the same note: contracts, Islamic contracts, financial contracts, and I briefed them about the terms and condition of the two previous slide which I just discussed with them is this one. Rather, only one slide which I have discussed, whereby I discuss about the contractual capacities of the contracting party. What are the capacities? In which I have discussed that there would be two possible outcome: complete or deficient project. There is a possibility that if you are not capable, the project may lead to incompleteness or deficiency. And if you are financially incapable, it leads to bankruptcy. Whereas when we talk about the important provision that at time you are not capable, that you can appoint the third party, you can delegate your authority, and that contract is, we call it as wakala contract with the third party. Then I moved on and I discussed this point that there are three outcomes of a project. Our project is valid, and I'm just now focusing on valid projects where a contract is valid when all elements are satisfied the condition laid down by the Sharia. I would like to shift your focus toward the third condition. मैं आपकी attention third condition की तरफ focus करना चाहता हूं, in which I discuss with you that a project will remain valid if it is free from external prohibited attributes. So I just wanted to know from your side, can you elaborate this thing that a project will remain valid if it is free from external prohibited attributes? What do you mean by external prohibited attributes? क्या होंगे ये external prohibited attributes क्या हैं? What are external prohibited attributes? There are internal attributes. Internal attributes is a condition imposed on subject matter and the conditions imposed on contracting parties. तो हमने जो कंडीशंस लगाई है वो कमोडिटी के ऊपर लगाई है कि कमोडिटी लीगल होनी चाहिए, कमोडिटी शरिया कंप्लाइंट होनी चाहिए, और कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग पार्टीज की भी कंडीशन लगाई है कि दे शुड बी कैपेबल एंड देयर शुड बी देयर शुड हैव एनफ कैपेसिटी टू एग्जीक्यूट. तो फिर ये एक्सटर्नल प्रोहिबिटेड एट्रीब्यूट्स क्या हैं? यस, निदान, what do you suggest? What are external prohibited attributes of a contract? क्या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के अंदर कोई बाहर की चीजें भी होती है विच वी कॉल देम एज एट्रीब्यूट्स? यस. अब्दुल अहद, एम आई ऑडिबल?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible.
तो बताएं क्या क्या हो सकता है इसमें. आयशा, एनी इनपुट फ्रॉम योर साइड?
So maybe the laws of the land.
Right, to some extent you are right. She is saying that the one of the external thing is a condition imposed by the law of the land in which you are executing. Any specific example where law of a land? अच्छा, इसको let us take it from the other side. Can you give me any example where law of a land will facilitate the execution of project? It's not hinder, it's facilitate the contract. Any law of land? Aditya, do you have any idea about the law of land, the regulations of a particular geographical area, which will facilitate the execution of contract, not hinder it?
No, sir, not right now.
हाँ, ये तो बहुत कॉमन कंसेप्ट है. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन, SEZ?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you operate in Noida, NCR, if you operate in Bangalore, if you operate in Chennai, if you operate in Gujarat, if you operate in, for example, UAE, we have a place Ras Al Khaimah. If you operate in Los Angeles, if you operate in Detroit, They are special economic zones. Why do we they call them special economic zones? They are known as special economic zones because the law of a land facilitate the execution, like in the form of tax rebate, in the form of duty rebates, in the form of proper infrastructure facilities, in the form of legal, compliance. So these zones are created with the purpose of providing external support to the contract. Now, opposite of that is there would be certain laws of land which prohibited, from any sort of prohibition. कोई एग्जाम्पल आप दे सकते हैं प्रोहिबिशन की, लॉ ऑफ लैंड की? फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंडिया में अगर हम ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं तो क्या आपको लगता है, is there anything which is prohibited and we can include this in our contract, then our contract will become null and void? Hmm? For example, GST. You know that if you wanted to operate, you have to take a GST number. Hmm? Now, if somebody wanted to avoid GST, so if any contract is signed without a proper GST certification or registration, do you think it is valid? Do you think it is valid?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Hmm? So any uh, uh, any exclusion of the regulatory requirement in the contract will leads to prohibited attributes. तो हमने कोई ऐसा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन कर दिया जिसमें जीएसटी नंबर नहीं है, टिन नंबर नहीं है, जिसमें प्रॉपर बार कोडिंग नहीं है, जिसमें प्रॉपर रेगुलेशंस नहीं है, या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है लेकिन इनकम्प्लीट है, जो लीगल लैंग्वेज है वो इनकम्प्लीट है, जो डॉक्यूमेंट है वो इनकम्प्लीट है. So that would leads to the null and void condition in the contract. So external attributes play a very important role that we need to understand. Void, we have valid and then we have void. What is this void? Uh, this void is what we have. Void is, I hope you understand the word void. ये English word है
Yes,
void.
sir.
Void क्या क्या होता है? What do you mean by void?
Sir, in this, the contract
Can you,
is become
can you,
become.
I'm saying, Abdul Ahad, can you replace this word void with another word of English language?
Uh,
Null.
नहीं, हाँ, absence. Void का मतलब था absence. So कोई चीज absent है, जैसे कहते नहीं कि after the demise of anybody will say the void created by his absence is difficult to fill. So in obituary such type of words are used because void leads to absence, which you are saying exclusion. Something is missing. So what is missing from the contract? You know the two basic conditions: offer and acceptance. Offer is the subject matter, and the offer is, what do we call offer in Arabic terminology? Hello, what do we call offer? Anybody out of you? What do we call offer? Acceptance is qabul and offer is अब ये मैंने आप लोगों से कहा ना कि रोज आप I have already discussed that every day you have to list down certain terminology. ठीक है, यही टर्मिनोलॉजी तो आपके काम आएगी जब आप किसी इंटरव्यू में जाएंगे, आप किसी बाहर बैंक में अप्लाई करेंगे, जब आपको इंटरव्यू लेंगे तो वो आपसे ऑफर और एक्सेप्टेंस, एक तो कोई ऑफर एक्सेप्टेंस बोलेगा और एक कोई इजाब और कबूल बोलेगा. तो यू शुड हैव एन आइडिया. और रोज क्लास जो हो रही है उसमें 5 से लेकर 10 टर्म्स आ रही हैं जो टेक्निकल टर्म्स हैं. आप उनको लिस्ट बनाते रहिए. And at the end of this course, you will have a long list of 100 and 150 words. Every day you have to revise that 100 and 150 words. So you would have a very good language of when you speak in front of any banker. जब आप किसी बैंकर के सामने बात करेंगे, इंटरव्यू देंगे, तो they will get an idea that you have studied. Okay. So if something is missing, what means offer, that is ijab, and acceptance, that is qabul. So if something where these two things, any of these two things is missing, the contract is automatically become void. Automatically become void. So we have voidiness, which is the absence. Right? There are certain conditions where a valid contract could also be suspended, can become void, can become null. What are those conditions? As you know that I have signed a contract, for example, I have signed a contract for buying and the selling of a laptop. And once the delivery take place, or even during the course of the time, I realize that there is some defectiveness, there is some irregularity, there is some lack of technical working, technical function, that we call it as a defective item. So if the item is defective, if the subject matter is defective, the valid contract would be suspended. तो फर्स्ट द फॉरमोस्ट कंडीशन इज ऑन सब्जेक्ट मैटर. जो कमोडिटी, जो प्रोडक्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में है, अगर उसमें कहीं भी कोई डिफेक्टनेस है, कोई डिफेक्ट है, सो दैट विल बिकम, यू नो, द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विल बिकम नल. Lack of authority, you know, the contracting party. If any point of time we realize that the authority of the contracting party is subjudized, or it has been they're not there in the contract, then the contract will become void. ये कैसे आप एग्जाम्पल सोच सकते हैं? लैक ऑफ अथॉरिटी कैसे हो सकता है? हाउ कैन यू से इट्स अ लैक ऑफ अथॉरिटी?
मतलब का है और उसको सेल करते हैं.
I'm sorry, Nahid, I'm sorry, Nahid, I'm not able to hear you. Your voice is not clear.
लैक ऑफ जो बात हो रही है.
नहीं. There is a lot of echo from your side. I'm not able to hear you properly. Anybody else? Nidal is here. Where is Nidal? Nidal?
Yes, sir.
बताइए.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
हाँ, I called your name and you are not here. Maybe.
No, sir. I was there actually. I got distracted.
Okay. I'm just asking that what is this condition, lack of authority, which converts a valid project into a null project? When will this condition arise?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, no problem.
One reason is that.
हाँ, Mama, yes, please. नहीं. लैक ऑफ अथॉरिटी होती है कि सपोज करिए आई एंटर्ड इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद द स्टूडेंट ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट एज अ चेयरपर्सन, and but after 6 months, because of the rotation, because of the tenure, my designation as a chairperson is about to over, and after 6 months it get over. Now I, as Mr. Asif, cannot operate in the contract as a chairperson because my tenure, my designation, my position will now not more will be rather is not as per the contract which I have signed at the time of contract. So that is what we have lack authority. So if in case during the course of the contract any of the party, buyer and the seller, change their status, then their authority get change. ऐसा अक्सर ऐसा होता है बाइंग एंड सेलिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में. जो सेलर है ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ टाइम, जब हमने उससे कॉन्टैक्ट किया, जब साइन किया था तो वो सेलर था, आज हमने उससे कॉन्टैक्ट किया तो वो बोला कि वो काम तो मैंने छोड़ दिया है, अब वो कोई दूसरा मेरी जगह पे काम करेगा. तो अगर ऐसा है तो फिर you cannot execute the project, you cannot execute the contract. So during the period of the time, your authority, whichever you have signed at the time of contract, will remain the same. Lack of authority in knowledge. Right of third party, as I have already discussed with you, that ये जो आप बात कर रहे थे मामा, वकाला contract, that is at the time of signing the contract, I am the owner, but then I shifted the ownership to somebody else. I mortgage my asset. So now once I mortgage that asset, all the authorities is being transferred to the third party. So automatically my ownership from the contract will become zeroed and the project will become a null project. So three important condition which we have to understand is the defective product, lack of authority, and right of third party, and the right of third party in the form of mortgage. Okay, so then we have some conditions about the irregular contracts also. Now, see the change. First, I discuss about the valid, void, and irregular, right? Valid and void. Then now I'm talking about some irregular contracts. What are irregular contract? You have to refer back to the basic conditions of the contract, which I have discussed with you, and in which that basic conditions of the contract, basic elements of the contract, I have discussed with you the correspondence between the two parties, that is offer and acceptance, the communication, the explanation should be very clear and transparent. If in case the consent from any one of the party is defective, is irregular, is incomplete, then the contract will become an irregular contract. आपने मुझसे कोई ऐसा डॉक्यूमेंट दिखाया जो मुझे पता ही नहीं था, टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज थी, आपने उस पर मुझसे साइन करा ली. I don't know anything about that technical language in the paper. So before you sign or before you consent, you should have a proper language at place so that both parties agree with the terms and conditions. So defective consent automatically converts a valid project, a regular project contract into a irregular contract. I enter into a contract where I don't have a capacity, neither I don't have a knowledge. So because lack of knowledge, it leads to a very high level of uncertainty. And you know that whenever there is an element of uncertainty, it leads to the inclusion of gharar, which is prohibited. तो अगर मैंने किसी ऐसी चीज में वेंचर किया जो मुझे नहीं आती, तो जाहिर सी बात है फिर वो अनसर्टेनिटी को लीड करेगा. एंड व्हेन इट इज लीडिंग अनसर्टेनिटी, आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड, it automatically the project will become irregular. That is a condition that both the party, that is the condition that both the party are capable and competent to execute. If any of these two conditions is missing, it leads to uncertainty, which is a important prohibition in Islamic finance. Correct. I hope the point is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt, any confusion? Any feedback from your side? Anything that you would like to add on that? Okay, so let me move to this invalid condition. The language of the contract, the content of the contract, the conditions of the contract should be very clear. That's very important thing that you have to understand. So this is what we have now. Uh, as you know that we have the communication from both the party, and sometimes the contracts are the combination of two contracts or more than two contracts. Now if you combine two contracts which are mutually inconsistent, which are mutually exclusive to each other, then the contract will become an irregular contract. आपने ऐसी कंडीशन कोई लगा दी, दो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बायर एंड सेलर के बीच में ऐसे कर दिए कि अगर एक एग्जीक्यूट करता है तो दूसरा नहीं हो सकता, और दूसरा एग्जीक्यूट करता है तो पहला नहीं हो सकता. So you have two contract A and B, and A and B are of the nature that they are mutually inconsistent. That means if you work on project A, you cannot deliver project B, and if you work on project B, you cannot deliver project A. So two things if going through which are totally inconsistent to each other, that leads to a contract into a irregular contract. बहुत कॉमन चीज़ें हैं ये, बहुत चीज़ें हैं कि अगर ऐसी दो एक्टिविटीज़ आपने इंक्लूड कर दी हैं जो एक वक्त में सिर्फ एक हो सकती है. So how can you make this project a regular project? We will discuss this thing more specifically when we talk about the contracts like murahaba, musharaka. These things will come into that. Let me talk about the void contract. That is again the same we have already discussed with you. that when we talk about the invalidity, there are two major causes जो मैंने इससे पहले बताए थे, intrinsic causes and extrinsic causes, right? Intrinsic causes which are internal to the contract, as you all know, like for example, we are dealing in an illegal object, unlawful object, like any property which is not privately owned, which is owned by the government, public property. So if you are dealing in public property without taking proper permission, it become unlawful. So one of the main condition of the invalidity or voidness of the project is this one, unlawful object, absence of any contractual capacity. That's I have already discussed with you, right? If any contractual capacity is not present, it leads to this one, right? Very important thing is, because we are talking about the contract from the Islamic point of view, we know that all the conditions imposed by Sharia, if any of the if any of the objective of the Sharia is not satisfied or is in contradictory to that, so if your contract is in contradiction to any of the objective of the Sharia, the contract will become void. अगर कोई ऐसी एलिमेंट है, कोई ऐसी कंडीशन है जो शरिया से कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट कर रहा है, कोई भी ऐसी कंडीशन, then it will automatically leads to the voidness of the contract. Let me talk about the extrinsic causes which I asked somebody to elaborate. One of the major extrinsic cause is the uncertainty. अगर कोई भी ऐसी चीज है जो आप सब्जेक्ट मैटर में लगा रहे हैं जो कि अनसर्टेन है, दैट इज अ वेरी कॉमन प्रॉब्लम विच एग्जिस्ट. हम अक्सर ऐसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को करते हैं जहां पर हमारे हमारे हमें ये होता है कि हम सब्जेक्ट मैटर को ऐसी चीज़ों में लगा देते हैं जहां पर बहुत हाई लेवल ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी है. देयर लॉट ऑफ इफ एंड बट. हम ऐसी चीज़ प्रॉमिस करी है एंड आई एम पुटिंग लॉट ऑफ इफ एंड बट. तो इफ आई एम पुटिंग लॉट ऑफ इफ एंड बट, दैट इज एन एक्सटेंसिव कॉज. जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि आई विल डिलीवर अ लेक्चर ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक, और फिर मैंने कंडीशन लगा दी कि आई विल डिलीवर द लेक्चर प्रोवाइडेड आई विल गेट दिस बुक एंड द बुक इज अवेलेबल इन द सेमिनार एंड द सेमिनार हैज अ फ्लेक्सी टाइम दिस डेज. तो मैंने क्या करा कि लेक्चर की डिलीवरी को लिंक कर दिया बुक की अवेलेबिलिटी पे, और बुक की अवेलेबिलिटी को लिंक कर दिया सेमिनार की ओपनिंग पे. अब एक अननेसेसरली इफ एंड बट आ गया पूरी प्रोसेस के अंदर. So now, if this type of if and but which leads to any uncertainty, then definitely it is an extrinsic cause of the voidness. Uncertainty in the form of the contract and uncertainty due to subject matter. ये भी एक काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है. जब मैंने भी आपको बताया कि सब्जेक्ट मैटर मैंने ऐसा बना दिया जो कि इफ एंड बट है इसके अंदर बहुत सारे, या फॉर्म ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जैसे वकाला, मुशारका, मुराहबा, ये सब हैं अपनी जगह पे, लेकिन हमने कोई ऐसा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट डिजाइन करा जिसमें गरर है, जिसमें अनसर्टेनिटी है. सो दैट इज द एक्सटेंसिव कॉज. There are certain example of in the, for example, I'm saying uncertainty due to form of contract. So there are some example like advance money, like uncertain future event, like future dates, delivery dates, cash and credit both. इसी तरह से सब्जेक्ट मैटर के लिए जब हम बात करते हैं तो देर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स रिलेटेड टू सब्जेक्ट मैटर, लाइक एट्रीब्यूट्स, क्वांटिटी, स्पेसिफिकेशन, परफॉर्मेंस, डिलीवरी. अगर इसमें कहीं कोई अनसर्टेनिटी है, क्वांटिटी में कोई अनसर्टेनिटी है, स्पेसिफिकेशन में कोई अनसर्टेनिटी है, डिलीवरी में कोई अनसर्टेनिटी है, so that is, you know, this is what we have about the uncertainty, the subject matter. So what I want to discuss with you is this one, that there are different causes of uncertainty. Few of them, as I have already discussed, two main category is a form of contract and the subject matter. Form of contract मैंने अभी आपको बताया कि it would be this one, right? And uncertainty, the subject matter is this one. Yes, इसको देखें, uncertainty subject matter, and if anything is not clear, please let me know where I can explain in a more detail. Is this all okay?
So what is due to non-delivery?
Non-delivery is again it is again a very common point of uncertainty. Delivery is the same. We have to complete the syllabus, for example, by 10th of February. That is the last working day, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
due to some reason, we have to extend it, and that is, even that extension is not very clear. Is it 15th of February? Is it 20th of February? I want to deliver a product, and the delivery of the product is, for example, 15th of February, but there is no clarity about the delivery. या मैंने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन किया और उसमें मैंने मेंशन ही नहीं करी डिलीवरी डेट. इट इज गिवन एज इफ एज एंड व्हेन, जैसे मैंने बस ये स्टेटमेंट लिख दिया, आई प्रॉमिस टू डिलीवर द प्रोडक्ट एज एंड व्हेन इट गेट मैन्युफैक्चर्ड एंड रेडी फॉर द डिलीवरी. अब मैंने लिख दिया एज एंड व्हेन, तो अब एज एंड व्हेन हाउ कैन द अदर पार्टी इन्फर दिस स्टेटमेंट? कब? मैंने लिख दिया कि जब भी हो जाएगा, तो कब? दिस शुड बी अ टाइमलाइन. So if this as and when statement is included without specifying the date, for example, I specify the date that I promise to deliver the product on or before 15th of February 2022. So this is a specific delivery date and time, right? However, मैं लिख दिया as and when, so then the thing will become uncertain. I hope you get the point.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you please explain uncertainty due to time of performance?
द सेम. आपने कोई मशीन का ऑर्डर किया था, ठीक है, मशीन का ऑर्डर था और हमें उसको ऑपरेशनल करना था उस टाइम पे. 15th ऑफ February डेट ऑफ इंस्टॉलेशन है और डेट ऑफ वर्किंग है. अब वही, जब आपने उसे किया, उन्होंने उसी तरह से डिज़ाइन किया था, लेकिन जब जिस टाइम पे उसको सेट किया गया था परफॉर्मेंस के लिए, द मशीन इज अनेबल टू डिलीवर. तो अगेन दैट इज अनसर्टेनिटी टू द टाइम ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस. और हमने क्लैरिटी नहीं दी कि कब ये परफॉर्म करेगा या कितने दिन तक परफॉर्म करेगा, उसका ड्यूरेशन नहीं बताया. एक मशीन मैंने ले ली और मशीन पे ये लेबल नहीं लगा हुआ कि, फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने प्रोजेक्टर बाय किया और प्रोजेक्टर जब मैंने, ये बैटरी मैंने ली फॉर एग्जांपल, और बैटरी की मुझे टाइम ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस का बायर ने मुझसे कहा, सेलर ने मुझसे बताया कि इट इज नॉट क्लियर हाउ लॉन्ग इट विल लास्ट, हाउ लॉन्ग इट विल गेट कंज्यूम्ड. दैट मीन्स the time of performance, the duration of performance is not clear, which leads to uncertainty. So all mechanical products, all machinery, they have a specific life. You cannot specify the product without specifying the life, the working life of a particular machine. आप लोग फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट में शायद पढ़ा भी होगा ये कंसेप्ट, वर्किंग लाइफ ऑफ द मशीन. खालिद सर ने, जावेद सर ने आपको बताया होगा कि देयर आर टू लाइफ, इकोनॉमिक लाइफ एंड ऑपरेशनल लाइफ. सो ऑपरेशनल लाइफ जो होती है वो यही होती है, वर्किंग लाइफ, तो वो टाइम ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस यही है. आदित्य, आई होप आई एम एबल टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will stop here with a focus that tomorrow also I will engage the class. I will let you know the time, and I request all of you to please attend the class as and when I ask you to join. I will try to make it at a comfortable time. ठीक है, मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि I will arrange the class at a comfortable time because the time is running like anything, so I have to engage it tomorrow also. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.